Alright guys, today we're going to be breaking down episode 1 and everything that I thought about the Kenobi episode 1. Now, I am liking the show. Believe it or not, I'm liking the show. I know there's a lot of controversy right now between the first 2 episodes and especially Reva. And trust me, we are going to get into all of that and my thoughts on it. But we're going to be breaking down the first episode, talking about all the little things you might have missed, as well as talking about the big points and what this means for the rest of the show. Really cool intro scene to start it off. Obviously, I would have liked to see a little bit more here. I would have liked to see like an original scene here. Just an original scene would have been nice. I did like that they did do a recap for it. And I actually really did enjoy it in the moment. I thought it was cool and it got me amped for the episode. The opening scene was definitely the coolest part of this episode. I absolutely loved it. The Jedi Temple, the fight scene, it was absolutely sick. I thought that they did a really good job here. The 501st looked like they were absolutely going in, which I love. And I loved the action sequence to start the movie. Perfect way to start it off, and honestly, it makes a lot of sense that they would start it off like this. Now, a lot of people have been thinking that at the beginning of this episode that the whole thing was that this is exactly the same type of scene as it was in the Mandalorian flashback scene with Grogu. I don't think it is. It definitely isn't, because there were 3 kind of Jedi there, and there's not 3 Jedi here in any point, at least like clumped up in the same type of spot. So these are 2 completely different scenes. Maybe they ended up taking a little bit from it, but I just think that this is a really good scene, and it looks very original. It doesn't look like the same thing that we saw in Mandalorian. As far as the Inquisitors go, I like them so far. Now, with the opening scene with Reva and them just kind of... The whole thing with this is I just feel like Reva's acting is very, very, very forced. It just feels so forced. And, you know, I understand that that's the type of character that she is. She's going to be ongoing, wanting Vader's attention. You know, Vader's little girl, pretty much. Except for Vader doesn't care about her at all. But she really wants to gain favor from Vader. And so the one thing, obviously, doing that would be Kenobi. So it kind of makes sense. It kind of makes sense. I get where she's coming from, and I get why they're doing it this way. It's just the aspect of the fact that I don't know. She just seems over the top. Even in the scene right here, whenever she ends up throwing the knife at the guy. Now, that is completely understandable, but later in the episode, we just see Reva kind of go off the rails, and it's just kind of a recurring theme so far. As far as Kenobi working a normal job and kind of taking some meat, bringing it back, I really do like that they're showing this. This is a lot like the comics. He was just an ordinary person that you would not expect to be a Jedi. Obviously, he wasn't doing and staying like super high profile and saving people. So even whenever the scene is where he denies the other Jedi from helping him, I completely understand it, and that fits. That's how I expected this. And a lot of people were comparing this type of Kenobi to the Luke Skywalker that we saw in episode 8, and I understand that. But the one thing that I'm going to say about the Kenobi that is completely different than Luke Skywalker is the amount of tragic loss that Kenobi has had is like way up here, and then you got Luke Skywalker and everything he dealt with at the very bottom. I know that he ended up losing his temple, and all of his younglings or whatever ended up pretty much dying or turning to the dark side, but in this aspect of Kenobi's life, he's lost his best friend, he's lost his master, he's lost his way, he's lost the whole Jedi Order that he was a part of. He has lost absolutely everything. Satine, and it's just, he is absolutely struggling right now. So the fact that he is beaten for these 10 years, I mean, he's just, it makes a lot of sense, and I totally get why he acts the way he does, that he's completely shut down, hasn't used the Force in 10 years, and later in episode 2, we see that he is just not as strong as he used to be, and he keeps on referencing this. Towards the end of the show, I wonder if we'll get like a full power back Kenobi. We'll end up seeing what happens with all the fight scenes, but I'm really interested, and I love the arc that they are taking with Kenobi. I think that the acting is absolutely perfect with Kenobi, as always, and I love this character so far. I actually really like the Jawa scene in here. I know not a lot of creators are talking about this, but the kind of interaction between Jawa and Obi Wan were really funny. Not only did it gain interaction towards showing kind of how Kenobi is feeling, especially how Kenobi is smelling, but I really did like that. This flashback scene with Anakin was really cool, and I did like this. I thought that that was perfect, although, you know, honestly, I've seen some better on YouTube. Again, with the Jedi and him trying to get him to fight and fight for what's right, I love that he shut him down here. It makes sense. It fits the lore. It fits Legends. he was focused on one thing, and that was protecting Luke, because he knew that they had no shot without him. Another thing I want to point out, the casting for Leia. Man, I love Leia's character. I think that's perfect. The little glimpses of just Anakin and Padme and her, and the writing and the directing are just fantastic. They're fantastic so far. They have really nailed this young Leia. When you see this character, you think of Leia. You don't think of anything else. So I really do like that they did a perfect casting. I mean, she looks totally like what a younger Leia would end up looking like. So I love it. I love that she's rebellious and that she jumps around a lot like her father, and I think that's really cool, and it makes a lot of sense for kind of the TV show that she acts the way she is. I know that she acts like really stupid, especially in episode 2, which we'll have a breakdown later, but I end up liking that just because I feel like it fits her character, and she's a kid. She's 10 years old, and so obviously she has spurts of being more mature, but she also has spurts of being really stupid, and it makes sense. Kenobi, honestly, I think was at the fault mainly in episode 2, but I like this casting, and I think that it's really good, and that they're doing a really good job of this. Now, with the Owen scene, this is the biggest problem that I actually end up having with the show so far. It is that not only does she cut the hand off, I think that is completely fine. That's not what I have a problem with. Reva being a little rebellious and cutting someone and being vicious like a Sith, who would have thought, is actually really good. But the one thing that I absolutely hate is this Owen scene. I hate it. I don't like it. This is why. So the thing with this is that she ends up starting to interrogate Owen here, and she ends up talking about his family, and ends up talking about her, and now she's been reading minds and going into the minds of people the whole entire show. So you're telling me that she didn't have a good glimpse in there to maybe even think that, oh, there's Luke Skywalker in here, he's hiding something, he's hiding his own son, and the fact that the Inquisitors, pretty much everything that they know is backed up by Vader, I don't like this scene at all. I think that it's too on the edge, and it starts to kind of create some loopholes and some rumors that I think would end up getting back to Vader or something like that. And I know she's like obsessed with Kenobi here, but even with Owen, I mean, there's just the connection with Anakin Skywalker. You'd think that Vader would think about it, and obviously it's just kind of a big loophole going into the prequels and sequels. So I don't like it. I really don't like it. I think that's a dumb scene, and I feel like you don't really gain that much. Now, she could have just not talked about his family and talked about Kenobi or something, and him just denied it, and it would have been fine. But I don't like this scene. Honestly, out of the 3, I think the second brother is the one that I absolutely like the most, because I don't know, I like him the most. He seems like an absolute brute, and I'm ready to see this guy go fight someone. He looks like an absolute tank. As far as Leia ending up getting kidnapped in the show, I actually don't mind it at all. I think that I don't know why I didn't think about this. This is a perfect kind of scenario that makes sense for Kenobi leaving the planet. Now, the only thing with Kenobi leaving the planet that I don't like is, yes, I understand Leia is just as important as Luke, and I get that he has to do that, but there are just Inquisitors questioning Owen, and you're telling me he leaves there? Like, at least I would have liked to see maybe an Ahsoka appearance, a Rex appearance over Luke while he's gone. I don't like that, and I didn't really like that part of it. But overall, I did enjoy the episode. Obviously, the cinematography was absolutely beautiful, and I just love that there's brand new Star Wars. Kenobi's nailed. Reva's a little iffy, but I could even, I don't hate Reva. I really don't hate Reva. I know a lot of people do not like Reva at all, but I don't hate Reva. I could end up liking her later in the show. I really do think that it would be absolutely funny to just see Vader end up slashing Reva or just doing something to Reva whenever Reva pisses him off about trying to do something that is all Vader's, such as finding Kenobi. Like, that's literally all Vader has been wanting to do. And I know he's been hunting Jedi, but I like the idea of Vader just absolutely destroying the Inquisitors. I'm really excited to see Vader in action next episode. They teased it in the 3rd episode, but I liked episode 1 so far. This has been my episode 1 breakdown. If these videos, make sure you guys drop a like and a sub, as we are going to be killing it for the Kenobi series. So make sure you guys drop a like and a sub. Every breakdown for every episode on top of videos on top of each episode talking about my thoughts. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Hit the sub button, and peace.